Hello everyone, I'm Stephen Linklater, the Claims Director at Ageas. Welcome to Insured Insights, a series of videos where we talk about the hot topics in insurance today. And today's topic is driving the future. And I'm delighted to be joined by Jonathan Hewitt, CEO at Thatcham Research.
Thank you very much, Stephen. I'm pleased to be here.
Excellent. And the format for today is, you may have noticed, we've got a big button between us. Now we are going to hit this button. It's going to randomly generate a question for us that we will then both have a go at answering. So, are you ready if I hit the button?
Try and get an easy one to start with.
Right, okay, we'll hopefully start with an easy one. Let's go. There's lots of questions in there. As we prepare for the switch to electric vehicles, what part does the insurance industry have to play in helping society prepare? I think there's probably two parts for me. One is having the right products available. So let's ensure we've got the right products availability that can cover these vehicles and link to that at the right cost. And I think the second point is being able to repair these vehicles when they do have an accident, because although they're similar to repair to combustion engine vehicles, there are a couple of really key differences. One is on average cost more. So I think when we look at our data, they're around 25% more cost to repair. They take longer, 10% longer. And you need, in your repair centres, you need specialist staff to handle these. So it's something we've worked very closely with our solution centre on, is the level 2, the level 3, the level 4 trained staff. And I think when you look across the repairer network, there's around 250,000 people that repair cars. Only 39,000 people are qualified to handle electric vehicles. There's a view that in the next 5 years we're going to need 100,000 people, so that's key. And then the final point, I guess, for me would be the whole area of the battery, because we see examples where there's fairly minor impact to the car, but the battery's been damaged, and these batteries can cost £10,000-20,000, and sometimes the whole vehicle can be written off just for the battery damage. So I think there's a question on repairing batteries, also disposal of batteries, the reusability of batteries, and maybe hands to you, because I know that's something you've really looked into.
Yes. So I think this is a really interesting topic. New powertrains for vehicles, and the vast majority of these being electric powertrains, does represent some significant challenges in terms of risk assessment and repair. We are dealing with the most expensive spare part of all time, as you said, Stephen. The cost of a battery is significant and often determines the repair or write-off decision. We've collaborated extensively with insurers to understand the issue, but very importantly, we're talking a lot to the vehicle makers, the incumbents and the new entrants. I mean, a lot of these new vehicles are coming from China, obviously, to really emphasise and underline the importance of repair methods and to understand how we treat batteries after an accident. There is a gap currently in terms of diagnostic and battery health, which we want to try and to solve, to understand, has a battery been compromised in the accident, but then to also make sure that the vehicle is treated safely, and we find the right again, technology-based solutions to harvest the value of the battery should the vehicle be total lost. And we've seen technology recently which is able to separate plastic, metal and the black mass for entry back into gigafactories for new batteries. So there's some exciting things happening, but the thing that we're battling with most at the moment is the cost aspect. Battery electric vehicles are also designed in a different way. We see a lot of mega castings which make repair even more difficult. But I think in terms of what we're doing about it, it's really understanding it from an insurance perspective, from a repair sector perspective, and from a vehicle maker perspective, so that we solve it together. In many respects, EVs exacerbate the existing problem we're seeing in the repair sector, which is lack of skills. So making sure that we solve for that with our Thatcham EV Ready training course, as an example, ensures that the skills are in the repair sector, but also trying to use it as a potential positive to re-explain and to get younger people to re-evaluate what the repair sector is actually about.
Are you ready for another question?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, let's give it a go. Okay, so the next question we have is, what can the insurance industry do to help drivers reduce their impact on the environment? Well, I guess the first one I'll start with is, how can insurers be more sustainable just through the whole ecosystem? And one area we've really led on, I think, is the recycled parts, the green parts. So we've been working on this for a while now, but our strategy is really repair over replace. So how can we repair more vehicles rather than they become a total loss, and big impact on the environment, big impact on customers, because often customers want to keep their cars. So we're now over 30% of all our parts are recycled. So these parts get a second life. And I think not only does it help repair more cars, but it does bring the overall cost down as well. So we talked about inflation, really helps with the whole cost on insurance. The other area we've worked quite hard on as well is with our repairers, their sustainability strategy. I'm really pleased to say that they've embraced it. So they've all responded really positively, looking at how they use energy, how they carry out repairs, and actually we're now repairing cars in our solution centres, and 60% of them are now carbon neutral. So that's really grown, and we're going to keep pushing that number.
I think that's interesting. I think the Thatcham role is to really explain that repairability agenda to the vehicle makers, and what we don't want is to live in the age of the throwaway car, and when we start to talk in those terms with vehicle makers, of course that's not what they want either. That they have sustainability targets. So I think we've had a big focus recently on repairability and repair methods. We've done some really interesting projects with vehicle makers where we've almost unpacked group rating and how insurers think about risk, so that the vehicle makers can understand how they can advantage themselves by potentially reducing repair costs and achieve a more competitive insurance rate via other vehicles in that particular category. Again, new entrants, Chinese vehicle makers thinking a lot about this.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's good to hear. I guess the other one I might drop in is technology. So how can we use technology to help sustainability? Maybe a couple of examples. One, we've been doing a lot of work using AI, machine learning, to look at where we should put our cars. So which are the repairs that have availability, where can we get parts, which is the right car to repair, just to speed up the whole repair time. And then another example is, historically you would send engineers out to assess a vehicle. That's very much moved to now photos in from customers using AI to assess that damage. So the majority of our vehicle assessments now are done in real time using quite advanced AI.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic to hear the use of technology through the workflow. I think is what's helping make things a lot more efficient, better outcomes for consumers potentially. We've seen some quite interesting trials using 3D printing for some non-safety related parts. I think again, safety is absolutely critical when it comes to repair, but sometimes repairs are being delayed for plugs and sockets and brackets and what have you, which are not related to safety and can be provided by 3D printing type solutions. So again, I think the insurance industry's role in encouraging innovation, use of technology is I think a really interesting way for the industry to present itself, and to make sure that's conveyed to the consumer ultimately.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I saw a real life example of that. I was at one of our repairers and they were talking about a small component they were waiting for. Yeah. And he said, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to go and print it out," which was a bit of a surprise to me at the time. But you're right, it's definitely an increasing area.